I don't teach violin, by the way. So my father has always loved music. Sadly, he was one of those people that grew up being told that he just didn't have musical talent. After receiving that criticism, he decided that playing music simply wasn't for him, and for the next 55 years of his life, he left it at that. Fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests, my speech today is inspired by the book Mindset by Carol Dweck. Carol Dweck coined two important terms in her book, the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. The fixed mindset says you either have it or you don't. And the growth mindset says that sure, some people are born with a bit of talent, maybe a little bit more than others, but any kind of worthwhile achievement is much more realistically achieved through a systematic learning process. I think the truth is we all live somewhere on a spectrum between the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. And it's possible that in some areas of our lives we have a growth mindset, whereas in other areas we have a fixed mindset. For example, maybe at work you're always improving on your skills and you have a growth mindset, but maybe in your relationships you sort of think that it should just come naturally and you have more of a fixed mindset. So coming back to my father, despite having received that criticism from his teachers, he still had a huge love and appreciation for music that stayed with him for his entire life. One of the ways that he expressed that love was when he had kids of his own, he wanted to support his kids' musical education. So my brother and I were given piano lessons, and we were just strongly supported to go after any kind of musical interest that we had. Unlike my father, I grew up feeling like music was kind of easy. And I played trumpet, I played guitar, I played piano, I played drums. And people around me told me I was good at it. My teachers, my friends, they just sort of praised me, saying that I was talented. Unfortunately, because of the fact that I could just sort of pick them up and with a little work, and in some cases without even taking lessons, I grew into the fixed mindset just like my father. As the years went by and I got more and more serious about music, I decided to pursue it in university. I slowly grew out of my fixed mindset and into my more of a growth mindset. But the biggest shift that really propelled me into the growth mindset came again from my father. So at the age of 64, my father stumbles on a book called Peak by Anders Ericsson. Anders Ericsson spent his career trying to understand and demystify how people in various disciplines reach extraordinary abilities. One of the main ideas of the book is that people get these extraordinary abilities, whether it be in sports, music, chess, all sorts of different things. They get there through a process called deliberate practice. So the crux of deliberate practice can be broken down into three main ideas. Firstly, you have to be very goal-oriented in your practice. So you have to sort of be really clear about what it is that you're trying to achieve when you're practicing. You have to be very present and focused and sort of micro-adjust as you go along. And there needs to be some kind of feedback. So this is often done through videotaping yourself or through the help of a coach. One of the interesting things about deliberate practice is that it's not about clocking the most hours or working the hardest, but it usually comes down to how you do what you do. So it's actually more of a technique issue. And the interesting thing is that most of these people that he talks about in the book that achieve these amazing things, at one point in their development, they had the support of a master teacher. So that really kind of caught my mind when I read it. But for my father, the most interesting part was in the book he talks about how my father's story is not an uncommon story. In fact, a lot of people have had that experience of being told that they're just not talented at something, and just how devastating that can be and how it can stay with them their entire lives. And that it's in fact misguided. And the reality is with the right kind of mindset, you can actually learn pretty much anything. So a switch flicked in my father's head, and he decided that at the age of 64 he could learn the piano with the right kind of practice and the right kind of coaching. And so for the past 3 years he's been learning piano with like a fire. He practices 2 hours a day, he's had multiple different teachers, and he's just on this trajectory, which is super awesome. For myself, after reading the book, I felt a renewed inspiration for going after my dream of being a world-class drummer. And I knew that I needed to find my master teacher, so I scoured the internet and I stumbled upon a teacher that's based in Los Angeles who's quite renowned and has coached many of the world's best drummers. And through the beauty of the internet, I've been studying with him here in Montreal through Skype for just over a year, and the results have been a real game changer for me. So to conclude, this speech is the story about how my father and I moved from a fixed to a growth mindset. And hopefully some of you are inspired to think of ways in your life that you have a fixed mindset and how you could shift into a growth mindset. That's all from me. Thank you.